Hey everyone, I'm Heather Ganifke and I'm an Emerald Ambassador with Plexus. Aubrey asked me if I would share on this awesome Jewels in January call. And I was like, sure, but what should I share about? And she responded with, share about something you're passionate about and something that you've had to work through. And I prayed about it for a little bit and I knew it just kept coming up over and over and over. And I'm going to talk to you today about finding your grit, finding it, keeping your grit, and not letting that grit go. And if I would have listened to this training a while ago, I might have been like, I don't need that. But hang on, before you tune out, just listen to what I have to say. I'm going to start by sharing a little bit about who I am and my story. So I joined Plexus 2.5 years ago, and I wanted to feel better. I felt like, man, I was so tired. All the things that Plexus can help you with, it has definitely helped me with. And then financially, I got 6 people to try this with me within the first week and never had to pay for my products. So I was like, tell me more about the business. Like, this is incredible. I ranked up to senior silver in my first month, and then it just kept going slowly but surely. And I was like, wow, making money, So by 4 months in, I ranked gold, and then I sat at gold for 6 months. I was really good at having people try this with me for accountability. I need the accountability or I'm not very good. I'm kind of out. So people were trying with me for accountability, and I had the hardest time asking people if they would share that we're doing this with me. I didn't want to be salesy. I didn't want to push people. So I sat there at gold for 6 months and kept praying about this. Like, Lord, how do you move the needle? What do you do? And finally, a mindset shifted, and I realized I had to have a team. I needed to ask people if they'd be willing to share and really work on changing lives for other people and help people be able to afford their products too. So 6 months in, I started asking if they would share, and that was in May, the end of May, and I hit senior gold. In June, I double ranked. I went ruby, senior ruby, and in July, on my 1-year Plexus anniversary, I hit emerald, and it was amazing. Like, I thought there's no way could I do this. So I hit emerald in 1 year of joining, and it wasn't until I had a big mind shift that I needed to have a team to do this with. So 1 year in joining, I hit emerald. Let me back up a second. I'm a mama to 9 kids. We're married. We have 8 biological children, and we adopted 1. And I homeschool the kids. We're very involved in church stuff and sports. And I'm like, there's no way would I always dreamed of it when I started. And I'm seeing these jewels, and there's no way I could ever hit emerald or be a jewel. And it happened. So I went in 2.5 months, I went from senior gold to emerald. So I know this can happen. And we were on a high. My team was on momentum. We had 33 silvers join in 1 month, and people were ranking up like crazy. And we had hundreds of people joining our team. And we were on this high for about 2 months. And then in August, a month after I ranked emerald, my sponsor went on a sabbatical. And I'm like, wait, no, I don't know what we're going to do now. So she went on the sabbatical, and that was the start of things going downhill. And I used excuses of like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't have help, to instead of owning it and owning what I needed to do. And so that was the start of it. And shortly but slowly, I started going backwards in points. And it took me 1 full year when I dipped below emerald to re-rank emerald. And I sat there, and it was so hard. And I feel like I need to share that because I don't think it's shared enough. I think a lot of times, even for me, I thought, oh, once you hit a jewel, you're not going to dip below it. But I did. And, we have 9 children, 8 biological and 1 adopted child. In that year, from March of this past March until October, we walked through absolute living hell. Our son that's adopted, his biological mom is part of a sex trafficking ring, which meant she trafficked him. And he came to our family when he was 5, and we had no idea the horrific life he had lived before our home. And he also brought that into our home. And so in March, he has gone through 2 different treatment facilities at the age of 10. And it's been the hardest journey. I'll spare you for the details, but it's been the hardest journey our family has ever had to walk. And so I let that be a big excuse for me because we were facing very, very hard things to the point that I couldn't get out of bed. I resorted to my bed because I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. I don't want to feel pain. And I just resorted to, if I don't have to see anybody or talk to anybody, it felt easier than having to go face it every day and face the pain that I was living. And so for weeks, I would do the bare minimum. I hired an assistant, and my team was on fire, you guys, and it wasn't ranking Emerald. We were growing by 100 plus people almost every month back to back. But I wasn't showing up. I was just right there, barely below Emerald points, but I wasn't showing up the way I had. And I was using all these horrible life experiences as my scapegoat. And I wasn't telling my team. I was looking like I was there, but not there the way I know God wanted me to be and the way I should be. So here I am sitting in this deep, dark hole and not sure what to do, and I'm not sure how to get out of it. But okay, I'm gonna switch gears for a minute. So I want to ask you a couple questions, and I want you to grab a sticky note and answer them. I want to talk to you about grit, finding that grit, because that changed my life when I found the grit. So what sparks a flame in you? Think about that. Like, what sparks that passion and that fire inside, deep down inside you? And write that on a sticky note. And I want you to write on a sticky note, what is your why? Why are you doing this? And it's not even the why in your business, but your passion, your purpose in life. What's your why? Mine, I have a goal. I want to raise my children to serve God and to know Him and bring as many people to heaven with me as I can. And that is incorporated into my team and my family life and everything that I do, and I try my best to have that be part of my daily life. So write down what sparks a flame in you, in your why. And then I want you to write down your favorite affirmation, something where you've had a lot of negative talk and you flip that script and your very favorite positive affirmation. Take those sticky notes and post them. If it's your bathroom mirror, like, where are you seeing them that you need to see them when you're feeling that place of you don't want to keep going, you don't want to do what you need to do for the day, and go look at them and remember God has a plan for you. So when life gets tough and it's hard, have those sticky notes be that reminder for you. Go light that fire and get out there and change your world. And God's going to use you when you're in that fire and you're in the deep, dark hole. That's where God uses you, and He's going to refine you the most. So hold tight and go get that. So, when I was in that place of, it was really hard to keep going, and I didn't know how to keep going. And I didn't want to tell people. I wasn't going to talk about it and tell people, like, hey, my life sucks. It's so hard. I am positive, and I want to be encouraging and uplifting, and I don't want people to know how bad things really are. And I don't want anyone to feel that with me. So I just try to avoid it at all costs and try to keep finding fun to not feel it. But something I've learned a lot during this is you have to treat this business, the Plexus business, like it's a brick and mortar business. You have to treat it like it's a company that you're going to work for and you got to show up for. So you have to be showing up consistently every single day, even when you don't want to. You have to show up like you're going to work. And are you showing up consistently, or are you showing up conveniently and showing up when it's easy to show up, when you feel good, when you have that extra momentum? So to show up consistently, I need those sticky notes. I need the reminder of I have to show up. And I wasn't showing up like I used to. And what does showing up mean? So that's another thing I want you to do. I want you to write down and plan. If you have a notebook or wherever you plan, I want you to write down, what does showing up look like for you? What does showing up consistently look like for you? Maybe you need to ask your team, what do you guys need from me? And what does that look like? And write down and brainstorm together with your team and do it for yourself. But showing up for your team, is that team a really good team chat? Is it team Zooms? Is it meeting up for coffee one time a month, or meeting up to plan out your month together one time a month and getting together face to face with whoever could come? So I want you to brainstorm and plan, because if you have a plan on what it looks like to show up consistently when you're in that yucky place, you have something to go to. Grab your list and okay, here's what I need to do to show up. Here's what I need to do to be consistent. And I'm going to do this list even when I don't want to. And I promise you, when you do it, it's going to feel so much better. So I'm not kidding when I told you I didn't want to get out of bed. And when my life was so hard and my family, we were struggling. Everyone was. They had a mom that wasn't there and a wife that wasn't there. And I want to tell you that And I didn't hold my rank for Emerald for a year. Oh, it was so hard. There were so many things that were so hard. And people have asked me now when I've been sharing more about this, what turned it around? What was it? Let me tell you, it was God, 100% God, and my mindset, finding that grit and changing my mindset. Here's some things that helped me. Number one, I found a counselor, and I finally decided I gotta go work through the pain that our family's been walking and the stuff that's happening. You guys, Child Protective Services was in our home more than 11 times in a couple months because of the trauma with our adopted son. And I don't know if you've dealt with Child Protection Services, but it's not fun. So we walked through hell, like I told you. But going to a good Christian counselor and sorting through that really helped me. And finding an accountability partner that I could be real with, and I could say, hey, okay, maybe it's just a word like, or maybe it's like I need coffee, or let's call and do coffee over the phone, where they knew that I was getting to that place and they could give me that push that I needed to not be there. And the sticky notes helped me like crazy. And to put those in a place where I'll see them and grabbing hold of my thoughts immediately and flipping that switch and not letting the enemy attack. And let me tell you, the enemy is so good at attacking when we're doing things for the kingdom and when your team is working and trying to change lives for the kingdom and for the good. So hold on to that and know that, a lot of times that's where the enemy tries to grab you, and the fight is against the enemy. And so getting into the word definitely helps a ton. And another thing that helped me a lot was having a consistent routine, getting in the word, and then writing down at least 3 things I was thankful for. And that can be anything. You guys. But write down 3 things you're thankful for, and you'll be amazed at how that flips your mindset and how you can grab that grit and hang on to it. Write 3 things every day. Also, go find a good personal development book and read that. Can you read a couple pages at nighttime before you go to bed or throughout your day? Or if you don't like to read, how about Audible? There's all the books on Audible. Find a good podcast. Do something that's going to help you with your mindset and your leadership and your personal growth. So today's assignment, I want you to grab sticky notes. Go get a pack of sticky notes and write down those things that I ask you about. Write down, let's see okay. So you're going to write down what sparks the flame in you. And you're going to write down, what is your why? I want you to write those things down and recognize them and put them up somewhere you'll notice. And then for the assignment, in the comments, I want you to write what book you're reading or what book you want to read and you're going to start reading, or what Audible or what podcast you're going to listen to. Share those in the comments. And the last thing, I want you to go with your team or personally, and in the comments, write, how are you going to show up this month? So share the way you're going to start showing up. And the book I'm currently reading is Win the Day. So I'm going to read a little bit out of here for you and share some things that stuck out that really gave me that extra little grit that I needed and highlighted these. So almost anybody can accomplish almost anything if they work at it long enough, hard enough, and smart enough. And all you have to do is win the day, is win one day in front of you, no matter what goal you're going after. So grab that grit, hold on to it, and win your day. And I believe that God honors bold prayers, because bold prayers honor God. So pray those bold prayers. Pray the prayer that, God, help me have that grit when I don't. And don't wait until the circumstances change to start living your best life. I was waiting for my life to change and get better, for maybe my sponsor to show back up, for this hell that we're living to stop until I showed up. And you can't do that. And this is one of my favorite things. It says, I love when the odds are stacked against me. It's easy. If it's easy, what's the point? I want to go after my dreams that are designed to fail, that are destined to fail. So I want to go after dreams that are destined to fail without divine intervention. I want to accomplish things that I can't take credit for. The harder, the better, because then God gets more glory. And your story will only be as good as the goals you go after. And God doesn't qualify. God doesn't always call the qualified. He qualifies the called. If it's in God's will and for God's glory, it's qualified for God's favor. So you guys, I want to leave you with, your story will only be as good as the goals that you go after. So friends, go after your goals, grab hold of your grit, and don't let it go.